I used to listen to a lot of information from channelers until I started to feel a certain way about it, and then I found my own stream of thought that is more organic to my own nature, my own surroundings, and is more encompassing of the reality that I am experiencing on every level. One individual asked Bashar about the FEMA camps and all this, and he pretty much just shuts him down. He basically tells him, stop. That is a reality that you are choosing to create, that you are choosing to experience. There are some other people that aren't experiencing that reality. And if you choose that as your reality, we won't engage with you anymore, because that is a consciousness of fear. And I can see how that exists. At the same time, there's something missing there. There's like something that is missing. And I felt this a while back, which is why I started to look twice on everything. This was a few years ago. And I revisited that video a few minutes ago and seen how it felt now in relation to this video that I'm watching or getting ready to play right now, which is Bashar on the Flat Earth. It just came out a few days ago, and you'll basically see how it's just a channeling version of a Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever these so-called super scientists are out there to tell you your reality. But one step further into relating this to how we are experiencing our reality, this channeler, his name is Daryl Anka, and his channel is Bashar, and Bashar is supposedly Daryl's future self 700 years from now, from this moment, from this reality. And Bashar often refers to us as creating our reality, as us actually being the parents of him in the future. And also, all channelers refer to as you are simultaneously creating your future and your past from this now moment. As it exists in infinity, you are also shifting your reality with each thought, each moment, existing in time as, this whole reality that we are experiencing. Now, the thing with this is these future beings are not only channeling information or sending information from the so-called future. This is my main point. They are channeling information from our particular version of reality, which in this moment is heavily based on the transhumanistic technological versions of our future. So if we were to shift completely into an organic reality, if we were to shift completely into an experience that is not based upon limitation, which created technology to close the gaps between that limitation, and the evolution program to set the foundation to that technological so-called future. So Bashar being 700 years in the future, he's 700 years in the future of the technological transhumanism future, because he's often explains that information comes through based upon the level of consciousness of our current reality. So this goes for the information that he can so-called disclose to us, and basically how they are in their current state of 700 years into the future. So I was thinking about this whole thing and directly relating it to Flat Earth and the alien agenda and technology and this whole story as, as a whole, and how literally our reality is being created for us in order to usher in a version of reality that is not for us, but is actually for these entities that have manifested into our reality as a result of our current reality. So this is who and what Bashar and Kryon and all the other channelers that are out there. Now they are a representation of all frequencies that exist, and my point being is they are also representative of the control grid frequencies. So as much beautiful and positive and enlightening and conscious information that comes through these channels and these channelers, you have to understand that they are also reflecting back to us, however far in the future or wherever this energy is coming from, reflecting back to us our level of consciousness from this so-called future. So by the basic math of how even Bashar tells his story of how he exists 700 years in our future from this moment, he exists in 700 years from a jacked up, completely genetically modified, chemtrailing, enslaved future. So the information that comes right now comes through him is very complicated. And I'm looking, as anybody should, you can look at everything from the lightest and the brightest and the brightest and everything just by the way it feels. But you ultimately also have, and I would recommend, you have a responsibility to also look at the other end of the spectrum of that information, because this is energy, and this is very important in relation to how we are experiencing our reality and how our futures are being created as we live and as we learn and as we explore ourselves and our surroundings. So this so-called New Age movement is heavily based upon these external frequencies, these frequencies that come from our star beings, our star nations, the ones who created us, the ones who protect us, the ones who, that story. So this whole thing, I wanted to zero in on. So these ships, these are all technology. These are all physical reality based. So these ships that supposedly come from higher dimensions or higher planes, with these beings who some see as hurting us and destroying us, and other people see them as saving us. And this is that whole New Age. So there's all of that and in between when you're talking about energy. My focus right now is the physical reality basis of this understanding. This is a metallic ship that exists in this reality. It's got technology, such and such, all this other stuff. We are not physical beings first. We are spiritual beings first, then to our soul, then to our mind, then to our body. And in that space, ships like this and technology does not exist the way. It's not organic. That's my basic point. It's inorganic. So when I trace this back in, Bashar comes through with a lot of information about his ship, where it's located, what they're doing, what information they can bring through to us, what we should focus on, how we should think about this. And it's a very observable dance that I have been seeing for these last 3, maybe 4 years now, maybe even longer than that. I've been observing this reality, and Daryl Anka has been channeling Bashar since the 70s. So this has been around. Better believe the government is understanding of this information. They already have Kryon in the United Nations, and he's been there a number of times speaking to the United Nations. But I wanted to expand that for a moment to bring it all back in to a direct relation to the flat earth and share how you can see this sort of mentality. And if I were just, and I'll play it, I'll see what comes out when I play it, but if I were to if I were to say what I feel in relation to why this channel is blocking the flat earth realization, is because the future in which they exist in and as will no longer exist once we expand our realities to understand our past. It's like they said, like these channelers say, we create our future and we create our past just as we create our present. So if we start to understand our present reality as a flat earth, we will then eventually understand our origins, our organic origins, our past in relation to how we got here, and set the foundations for a more symbiotic or organic future, that it doesn't exist with metallic ships and saviors of such energies that have to come down here, and it's all mixed in with everything. So they got your versions of Yeshua and your versions of aliens and your versions of ascended masters and teachers and people who have incarnated here in this earth plane that there's very obvious documentation of, and literature from the past. So it's all mixed in, and this is the all-in card that I've been alluding to in my previous videos, that this new age United Nation, Flat Earth Nation orchestrated awakening has to incorporate, because everything has to be accounted for in order to hide what has happened to the people, what has happened to the justice. Like there's cosmic justice, there's the spirit justice, and then man also has justice. And to jump completely into the new age frame of thought, which is what the controllers are meaning to do, is they systematically implode and send out really hardcore vibrations of fear and destruction in order to bring in the savior mentality or the savior frequency. Is they're doing this to hide, basically create such a giant distraction and such a separation, such a gap, so they can hide amongst the frequencies that are so beautiful and new. And it's a very complicated system, but it's very recognizable when you just follow your feelings and trust yourself. So I wanted to play this video so you can see the people in the flat earth community and the people who follow Bashar still, or who are just now going into understanding what Bashar is all about. And also this is a message to Daryl. As a very intelligent person, I've met Daryl before. As a very intelligent being, I challenge Daryl to research on his own the flat earth information stream and really start to unravel this, how this fits into the bigger scheme of things, and hear what I'm saying in this moment, and see this whole expansion that I'm talking about. Because how I see it right now from this moment is that once Daryl goes into understanding the flat earth and how it exists, this will be a definite shift, a split of realities, to where Bashar will no longer exist. Basically, this is what I'm feeling right now. And when Bashar no longer exists as he exists right now, then things will very definitely start to change, because these are energies that are coming through. Not saying that it's a big deal or anything, but in a sense it is a big deal when you talk about energy, because there are people who are channeling their energy into this information stream. And not to mention the anchoring of the energy that is the Bashar frequency through Daryl, and the information, and the lack of expansion that happens when people go through these walls of, oh, this is just the whatever the new age rationality is for certain subjects. Like, oh, that's those people. That's basically what this whole video is about, is that whole, those are those people who are living that reality. And that's what the new age and the channelers are saying when they say, FEMA camps and all that stuff doesn't exist in the reality. You create your reality. You can't just jump from level shit to level 12 and just be like, oh yeah, that's it. Because that's basically what's going on right now, and what the so-called controllers are looking to usher in, to sell confusion, sell more control, sell this new age agenda, and along with the flat earth stuff. So to have a flat earth map on the United Nations, to have Kryon at the United Nations as a channeler, to have all this flat earth information available to the collective conscious, and then to act as if it doesn't exist or as it doesn't matter, is highly fucking suspicious. I was saving that curse word for this moment right now, because I had to go for a walk in order to let this stuff just kind of like hang out for a moment, because this is a very big deal. And if we are creating our reality, and the entity that is Bashar exists in our future, and we create our future from this moment, and if we create a future that where this entity doesn't exist anymore, I would imagine that entity would try to defend it. So, here you go.
The flat earth theory, is there any truth to that?
Are you asking if your earth is flat?
Yeah, because I've been hearing people say that.
You know it's not, yes?
Okay. Okay. Exactly. So, people in the flat earth community can already understand where I'm coming from right now, and how I feel in this space, in this moment, when he says, you know it's not, right? But basically, I wanted to, you'll see. She says too, I've never been, I can't check.
I confirm it for myself, so.
Well, all right. You can most likely go along with the understanding that objects floating in space will more often than not form spherical bodies when left. You've seen this demonstrated when you see pictures coming back from your astronauts playing around with liquids in space.
There you go. There you go. At the most innocent level. At the most innocent level, Daryl is channeling Bashar, that is bringing in so much high frequency information that he cannot see and understand the lower vibrations or the lower frequencies that exist as a control grid. And this is what is allowing this control grid to stay afloat. And I am feeling more and more like they're getting ready to sell in these so-called higher frequencies and jump ship, in a sense, to get out of and sell the forgiveness, sell compassion, sell all of those high frequency vibrations in order to not face what has happened, and also usher in a new version of our future, and a new version of our past, and a new version of our current reality. And these channelers are being used as a foundation for that space. They're also being used because they are a representation of the current reality that we are experiencing based upon enslavement and technology and this current moment. So they themselves are enslaved. Daryl is enslaved to Bashar in a sense. He is a celebrity now because of Bashar. And Bashar is basically a representation of an enslaved past for him. He is our future from this moment, so that means he is a future based upon garbage. So the information that is coming through, as high a frequency as it can be, whatever it is, as good as it sounds, as good as it feels, that high frequency is high frequency that is founded on genetically modified garbage foundations, which is this moment that we are experiencing as the physical reality that is asking these questions through Daryl to Bashar. So what I'm saying in this video is that they have to, these channelers, these informations have to protect themselves, which is just my theory right now, and how it's going to be used in the new age stuff is. But zeroing in on this video, it looks like that these channels have to protect their existence pretty much.
And you see them forming spheres?
Yes.
There you go.
There it is.
Does that help you?
It does. Thank you,
Now,
Bashar.
this does not mean that there cannot be dimensions of reality where the physics is different, so that what they live on, though it may not be called a planet specifically, can actually be a flat surface. But that's not the physics of your dimension. But it is a reality on other dimensional levels.
See, it's not the physics of our dimension in this moment. So he's not lying. This is the thing. It's not the physics of our dimension in this moment, because the majority of our consciousness is not experiencing and creating that reality, because we have been separated from that understanding, which is the flat earth. So he's not lying when he says that's not, it's basically, we are not on a flat earth because we are not creating, we are not in the dimension where we have connected to our source that created this flat earth plane. We're not in that space. We are in the artificial dimension that has been created by the globe heads that he is defending with the university. You know it's not. So it's just it's an intellectual bully in a sense. It's no different than Neil deGrasse Tyson. So this is like intellectual interdimensional bullying in a sense, without lying. So this is where it goes into people speaking on channelers being actual demons, like demonic energies coming through, and how like they have this trickery energy that will manipulate you into thinking and feeling and acting a certain way, but they're not breaking any codes or any laws of, just like an energy can't take you over completely. You have to make an agreement in a sense, and that's basically what a channeler does with a channel. They are in agreement to bring in this information. But what other agreements does that channeler and that channel have with the consciousness of this space itself, this experience itself? It has to reflect, it reflect a level of consciousness that the individuals of the entire collective is at. It also has to, it can't lie, in order for it to be received by people, it's not going to lie. It's not going to tell you information that is straight up just bogus, but it will manipulate information to promote a certain agenda or something on that level. It's just complicated, and I'm still kind of like unraveling it, but this is how I feel right now.
Does that help?
It does. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, thank you.
So these people are allowing this frequency to persist, are allowing this energy to evolve in a sense. Each time we pay our energy into its existence. We are continually creating that reality as we only experience our reality based upon certain information streams. Kryon is a very definite information stream with the United Nations, and Bashar is a very definite information stream with the New Age community. And like I said earlier, I'm challenging Daryl Anka to research on his own the human being Daryl Anka, to go into the flat earth information and share his opinions on the flat earth outside of Bashar's frequency, period, completely.
This is how I'm seeing what the New Age system is completely based upon. Severing the connections with the earth, the roots, and completely investing itself into the artificial positive experience and creating an energy, a light bulb, but that light bulb is dim. But since we've been held in such darkness for so long, we've been held outside of realizing the depths of this experience. Any kind of light will be soaked up. This is what happens with the Oprah, New Age, Super Soul Sunday bullshit, and the New Age community as a whole. Even though that light is dim, people haven't had any light forever, so they just soak it up. But at what expense? At the expense of completely severing their connections to their roots, to the indigenous and the aboriginal people that is natural within this experience. Like I said, Ancient Aliens does this, the New Age community does this, individuals are doing this, and the evolution program inherently does this with the Big Bang Theory and all this other stuff, saying when they tell you that we evolved from monkeys and everything is just about the way the monkey, the pinnacle of the monkey evolution, which is your smartphone and the NASA program and SpaceX. So you don't even need to concern yourself with the indigenous and the aboriginal people and everything that they did. Even though they had ancient technology, don't concern yourself with that. That was probably just aliens. So just shut up with all that. They were primitive and savage nothings, and we're the best. That's that same mentality that people have, like Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse have when they approach flat earth talks. So this is why the channelers cannot go into the flat earth talks, because the universal perspective of the globe model, the heliocentric model, is the foundation of all of these illusions. But since the synthetic universe has been worshipped and amplified so much in the collective soul and the collective perspective, it literally creates this limitation or this non-physical information stream that gets channeled through these channelers. And since people are so lost either in the ignorant side of reality, which is the mainstream illusion, just, worship Beyonce and worship the mainstream media and worship the music industry in Hollywood. And that's all you got to do. And just make sure that your kids survive. Like, that's ultimately ignorant. I'm not saying that to beat down on anybody, just ignorant as the definition of what ignorant is, ignorant of other information. So that's what that system is based upon. It's based upon keeping people in a lack of understanding, a lack of self, a lack of depth. And that manifests into a lack of power, a lack of energy, a lack of expansion of consciousness. And if you have a lack of expansion of consciousness, then you can control time. Just like time flies when you're having fun, and time goes slow as shit in the last 15 minutes of your 10-hour workday. So ultimately, your 10-hour workday, the collective 10-hour workday, is working for the heliocentric model. That's how consciousness gets jacked up when we are looking at that version of time, that version of the clock, that version of consciousness, that version of experience. So channelers are being utilized in the new age / new world order community in order to sell this 50% at best version of reality at the expense of the other 50% that gets demonized, to create an artificial light expansion that is ultimately dim. It's a dim bulb.